Hello, how are you? If you clicked here, is maybe because you want to understand a little bit of my approach regarding my coaching sessions and how I go about it in general. So, this is what I'll be explaining in this audio to help you understand what you can expect from the process from me as a professional. So, let's jump into it and let's start with the first question that most people ask, which is how long does the coaching process last? It's important to understand that there are so many variables which could affect the length of the process. So during this audio, I'm going to take you through some of those variables. The first and most important variable is what the goal is and where you are in relation to that goal, because it's not the same if you have a goal that you're closer to than if you have a goal that you're far, far away from. And that is assuming that you know what the goal is, because some people don't know what their goal is. Another variable is the frequency. How often do we see each other? Normally, we would see each other once a week, and then the frequency will be once every month. But the frequency would also depend on so many other variables. Your availability, my availability, your budget, how urgent it is for you to do this. In general, I have a very flexible approach to it. Some people have like 3 sessions a week, but in general, what we normally do is to start with the definition of the goals. When people don't know their goals, we define the goals together, we define the strategy together. We call these strategic sessions. With some people, I do like a hybrid approach when they don't have enough budget, where I provide guidance to help them identify the goals by themselves. And then we work on the how to, on the strategy, on the tactics. Now let's mention other variables that could affect the length of the process, which is how ready you are to be coached, because not everyone is ready to be coached. Some people need some other approaches before they can go into coaching, as coaching requires a lot of ownership and self-accountability as well. A lot of people have to overcome a series of losses, traumas that they've been through sometimes in order to go ahead with coaching, in order to be prepared to be coached. So sometimes the priority is to overcome those obstacles. That way, the obstacle becomes the way. Overcoming the obstacles, the blockages, can become the way. Another variable is where you are now and where do you want to be? Whether you want to be accompanied at each stage of that process. Another one is how you're feeling now. Some people are in a position, I don't know, I had clients who have been through losses and they cannot overcome those losses, and therefore they don't have the energy, the boost, the motivation in terms of state of mind, in terms of affects, and obviously that also becomes an obstacle in achieving this goal. How you're feeling will be something that would either hinder the process or enhance the process. Yeah, some people are very, very motivated to do it and have a lot of energy and this feeling of hunger to reach that goal. And obviously that state of mind is also going to somewhat condition and even determine length of the process. The other one is how likely you are to take action when you have the resources to do so. Some people are, okay, they know what to do, they have the resources, but they still don't take action. This tendency is also going to influence the length of the process. How you are in general in regards to this in life is going to have an influence on how long it will last. Another one is defense mechanisms taking place, like resistance to change. A lot of people are resistant to accept new ways to do things, new perspectives, new approaches. And that resistance is not something to be judged, but something to be contemplated and addressed. Because sometimes that resistance tells us about perhaps the losses or traumas or things that are there that have not been processed, that have not been healed, or some wounds that people have are like getting in the way as well. You're gonna tend to deny things or repress, or how willing you are to, or prepared you are to dive into deep waters. Like, some people want to make progress, but they don't want to go to the root cause of the problems, of the obstacles that are getting in the way. And I deeply respect that. Not everyone likes to go to the root of the problems. And some people just want to stay in the surface and trying to make a move just on the surface. The other one is the context that you are in, like how facilitating or detrimental your environment is. Sometimes people do not have a support system that is encouraging of this progress. You have pushing forces rather than pulling forces. You have a great number of pushing forces that are keeping you where you are, and the pulling forces are not enough. Another thing that affects is your dedication and responsibility. So how do you manage time? How do you take notes? Whether you communicate proactively, so you would not want to navigate, and that's perfectly fine. You need to be in a position where you are prepared to navigate those areas, and that could slow down the process. And sometimes, in some cases, it blocks the progress altogether. The other thing is opportunities that you're presented. You might have all the hunger, all the motivation, etc., but there are no opportunities out there for you. So if you don't have those opportunities, those opportunities don't come to you, don't come into the equation, then that suggests that you might need to create them, which is going to require a lot more energy on your end to create those opportunities. Whereas when those opportunities come to you or are presented to you, that facilitates the process and makes the process faster, and you're reaching your goal faster. We expect for those opportunities to come to us and present themselves. But sometimes if we cannot create them, perhaps we can look further for those opportunities. We can look for a way to find them if they are out there. Another variable that plays an important role in regards to the coaching process is how we manage expectations. In general, our expectations are, we expect for things to happen in such a progressive way, linear, and what happens in reality is that we are going to have ups and downs. And we are going to have times where we're going to feel more energetic and more motivated. And we're going to have times where we're not going to feel like that. And we're going to have times where we are going to have support. And we're going to have times where we're going to have obstacles and more obstacles. And we're going to have to overcome them. New things are going to come in the way. And we're going to have to overcome them again and again. So that becomes the way. And if we are able to respect those, to respect the way to be like that, we are going to be much more prepared and much more likely to succeed in overcoming those obstacles than if we are not prepared. So the next one is moving forward through learning and change to get to that destination. The process of coaching is a process of constant learning and constant adjustment. This is what's going to be happening all the time. If you expect things to always the same, or you expect things to happen without change and without learning new ways, it might not happen. It's important that you understand that you are going to get to your final destination, but it's through learning and through change that you're going to get there. The other one is that coaching is like a systematic dialogue that is aimed to take you to a place. By the end of the session, my intention would be to get you further and closer to your goal. So I want this communication to be very fluid and very welcoming of even interruptions and redirections. Part of my job is to prevent you from branching out and getting distracted in your own narrative. So there will be a need for redirection. Another important point to mention, and this is more in relation to my approach specifically, my approach is very non-directive. I am going to be, if you imagine a chessboard, I am going to be the board and you're gonna play the game. You're gonna decide what your game is going to be, what game is you're going to play. And I'm going to only be that board that gives you structure, direction, clarity. So I will provide clarity, structure, and you will find the direction through that clarity and that structure. The structure will provide a strategy, tactics, objectives, definition, high definition, low definition, pivoting, risk assessment. There is another factor that is very relevant to the process, which is how responsibility is weighted during the process. Also, as your coach, I will be taking you to where you want to go, to where you want to be. That is my responsibility, to provide that platform so you can go to where you want to be, so you can create the future that you want for yourself, the identity that you want for yourself. You're going to have 80% responsibility and I'm going to have 20% responsibility. And if you give me the wrong address, I might take you to the wrong place. So that's also something that you need to be very aware and constantly checking, where do I want to go? Explore yourself, the accuracy of your vision and the way in which you communicate. Going to serve you for other purposes in life, because it's going to help you communicate when you have a vision, communicate your vision to other people. They can understand where you're trying to go, where you're trying to reach. You will feel more self-confident, the confidence will come from within. You won't need external resources to feed you with confidence. The confidence will come from within. Coaching builds awareness. It makes you more aware of the obstacles, the way, the alternatives. I'm always going to be asking you what is important to you. Are we working on what's important to you? To make sure that that goal is aligned to your vision and purpose in life. So we're going to be trying to work and trying to identify that vision, that purpose. The goal serves the purpose. Everything needs to be aligned to each other, your goals, your vision, your purpose. And that is how we create a coaching process that is strategic and conducive to the reality that you want to create and to the person that you want to become.